Welcome to another DragonLance Saga gaming episode. Today we're continuing our Shadow of the Dragon Queen playthrough, going back to the Preludes. And this is going to be the second Prelude of the three presented, Eye in the Sky. And this is for casters that are ultimately going to be joining the Mages of High Sorcery, or as we're all familiar with them, the Wizards of High Sorcery. I'm being joined today by Merrick is the character's name. So could you introduce your character to us, please?
Yeah, Merrick Spectre, hail from Palanthas, and I am an aspiring wizard of the Red Robes, just wanting to kind of go out into the world and learn, adventure, and become the best wizard I can while trying to just help others where I can.
Nice. So we're picking up in Palanthas. You've been summoned to the headmaster of your academy into his office. He wanted to see you. So you approach the door and knock, and he bids you, come in, son.
Hey, you wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. There's a couple of things I needed to talk to you about. You've been getting along splendidly at this academy, and I believe I have an opportunity that I'd like to see you seize to continue your growth in the arts of Arcana. So if you're open to it, there is an opportunity to attend a training session, if you will. Every night of the Eye, not far from here in the mountains, is a tower we refer to as the Barb. Well, the Barb is truly just ruins, but every night of the Eye, initiates, apprentices are summoned to test their abilities in magic to see if they're truly able to continue down the path of Arcana. I would like to see you attend this night of the Eye at the Barb and test yourself, and if you prove successful, as I suspect you will be moving on and learn ways in order to take the test later on in your adventuring career. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, tell me where to go and when to be.
Wonderful. Well, it just so happens the Night of the Eye does not frequently occur. In this particular case, it's going to be happening in 3 days' time, so you have only a day of travel, so you have a couple days to prepare yourself in any way that you see fit. But again, this is just not the test of high sorcery. This is just an examination, if you will, to make sure that you are going down the right path. Anyway, I will provide you with directions, and I very much look forward to hearing the outcome of this examination, if you will. I do fear that our paths may not cross again after you take this opportunity because, well, the second part of what I needed to talk to you about is we've received a message for you. And, well, here it is. And he, picks up a scroll from his desk and he reaches over and hands it to you. So the scroll itself is wax sealed. It looks, like just rolled up piece of parchment, and it has a symbol of the house of what he is telling you, Vogler, which you would know as one of the many Solamnic families that, you live in Palanthas, you're very familiar with Solamnic heritage, and it's just another one of the families that is associated with the Knights of Solamnia. Very nice ornate little wax stamp on the scroll itself. As you break the seal and you open it up, you read the following. Dear friend, I am Becklin Uth Viharin. I have heard much about you from our mutual friend, Ispin Greenshield. It grieves me to share the news that our dear friend Ispin has passed away peacefully here at his home in Vogler. May fortune and the old gods protect his soul. Ispin's friends are holding a memorial for him in a manner he always wanted. It will take place here in Vogler in the eye of the Kingfisher Festival. In the eve of the Kingfisher Festival. I write to ask you to do Ispin one last honor and attend. Should you come, accommodations will be available at the Brass Crab. Though the circumstances are sad, I am eager to meet you and, through our memories, to revel in the life of our great friend. Signed, Becklin Uth Viharin, Knight of the Crown. Now, this festival, this Kingfisher Festival, is happening in just over a week. So if you're going to make both of these events, you're going to have to leave the Barb and go directly to Vogler. Now, Vogler is at the end of the Vingard River, and I can show you on the map here exactly where that is. So Vogler is approximately right here. You see a little white circle popping out. For context, Kalaman is just on the other side of the river, closer to that bay area right here. So it's just a small little village that she's inviting you to attend the funeral of your old friend. So how is it, could you tell everyone, if you recall, that you knew Ispin?
Ispin and I started out kind of both going after the same young lady, trying to win her affections long ago, and kind of became frenemies of sorts, being a little competitive with each other. But over time, you know, we just kind of became really good friends, and he was very much like a mentor type, very wise man, and this is truly a sad day to learn of his death.
Yeah. So your headmaster, his name is Griffith Thule, pushes his chair back and slowly stands up. His body is older than he'd like to admit, and it creaks a little bit, and he sighs a little bit harder each time he gets up. Well, my boy, I hope the letter contained good news.
No, it's an old friend. An old friend has died.
Oh, my dear.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the longer we live, the more we're going to see those that we care about pass. Is it telling you where a reception or possibly a funeral will be held?
Yeah. I'm going to have to go to Vogler.
It's quite the journey.
Yeah, and the only way that I'm going to be able to make it there on time is if I leave, you know, right from the trial you're telling me about. I have to leave right after that's done and just make it out that way, because it's just in about a week's time. And yeah,
it is as I feared. We may not cross paths for some time, but. And he walks around the outside of the desk, coming up to you, and sort of indicates you to stand up. As you stand, he puts his hand on your shoulder, and he just looks you in the eye, and he has this sign of affection written all across his face. He's like, it isn't often I find any kinship with my students. Quite frankly, most of the students I have here in Palanthas are from wealthy families that they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground when it comes to magic. But you, my boy, you have excelled here, and I have no doubt that you will go on to truly make a mark on Ancelon and, well, Krynn as a whole, I'm sure. I wish you Godspeed, the best of journey, and may Lunatary shine her crimson light down on you to clear your path to the Barb. And he hands you a sheet of paper, which is ostensibly just a map of Palanthas and a trail that leads up into the mountain ranges to where the ruins of the Barb are located.
Thank you, Headmaster. I do have one question before you go that just in the excitement I didn't think to ask, but is this test, like, deadly?
Oh, fear not, my boy. This is more of an examination than the formal test. Now, once you do travel to an actual tower of high sorcery, probably Weirith, in order to take your test of high sorcery, that, as we've mentioned in our studies, is potentially deadly, but I would not let that bother you at all. You are quite intelligent and cunning enough to manage whatever those old wizards are going to throw your way.
Thank you, Headmaster.
Indeed. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must perform my stretches and study my books.
All right. I'll see you when I see you.
So as you leave his office, the door automatically just closes behind you. You've been in his office before. You understand he has quirky ways of using his magic to ease the burden of more of the mundane tasks of life, like closing a door, for example. So you have a couple days of preparation before you need to travel to get out there. Is there anything that you wanted to do before you head out?
I think I just want to kind of make sure that I have all my gear that I'm going to need, that I have enough food to last me a week.
Yeah.
Or, what is it, a week and a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing, maybe, do I have any close friends at this place? Or am I?
This is a school. I mean, they have academies, in every major city and town at this point, though most of them they don't announce their presence. They're a little more subdued and hidden away, but they do exist. So, yeah, I mean, you've got some mates here that you've grown close-ish to. The truth is that most of the people that do attend this school in Palanthas, this academy, they tend to be human. I mean, this is mainly a human port, and you're in the middle of Solamnia. And most humans don't really look fondly on half-elves. They don't really see you as one of them. And so the connections that you have made are over the magic. They're not really personal, shared experience connections.
Gotcha. Then in that case, I'm just going to kind of tend to my things, pack my stuff up, and maybe spend a couple days studying and get ready to go to the exam.
Okay. So as you, the Night of the Eye happens, you're traveling toward the Barb using the directions, and just, for context on the map, this is Palanthas and the Barb is right here. So you're going to have to travel a little bit overland through some mountainous ranges, but you've been living here for a very long time, and you're used to, spending time in nature at your leisure whenever you want to just sort of get away from the bigotry or maybe just the frustrations of city life. The elf nature inside of you, because you are a half elf, sometimes cries out for more of an intimate connection with nature, and you like to indulge that whenever possible. So as you have been traveling, the Night of the Eye is sort of conjoining. You see this large silver moon of Solanary, and right inside of it, centered, is Lunitary in this brilliant crimson glow. And in the side of that, a moon that you've never really seen before, though you know it exists, is Nuitary, this black ball of just a vacuum, a void of life itself at the center, creating that sort of the pupil of that eye with the moons. And you know that you must be approaching the Barb itself, and again, never having been here before, not really familiar, you're a little bit concerned. And then you start to hear sounds of other people traveling. And as you start to, cross through this sort of wooded area into a more open expanse, you notice that there are other casters, other students. They don't look like wizened wizards by any stretch of the imagination, but they're traveling to the same location ostensibly. And as you're starting to approach what must be considered the Barb, this is what you sort of see here. Tonight is an important night. Ahead rises the Barb, a jagged, half-ruined spire of gray stone. Many who aspire to join the mages of high sorcery have come here to prove their magical proficiency. The Barb is usually nothing more than a ruin, its construction predating the cataclysm. But tonight, on the Night of the Eye, when Krynn's 3 moons align, the ruin is alive with magic once more. Soft light shines from the archway, leading into the structure. So you actually do see the other students filtering into that archway, entering, and you only see one entrance here. So do you follow them inside, or do you want to stay outside? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna head on in because I know what I'm here for, and I've got Ispin on my mind, so I want to make it through this.
Yeah. The arch opens into a large atrium, lit with flaming sconces and adorned by grand tapestries depicting Krynn's 3 moons. Doors circle the room. The light of the moons cascades through broad windows high above. At the center of the room stands a serene-looking woman with long gray hair and red robes, and she nods at each of the initiates as they enter. As everyone enters into this atrium, you see at the very center is a very large, almost like a fire pit well, like a massive cauldron well, intricately decorated. It's got symbols of the different waxing and waning shapes of moons around the exterior of it. And again, as you look at the walls, you see tapestries depicting the different moons. And with the light coming down from all 3 moons at once, it creates this almost otherworldly atmosphere. The students are all standing in a semicircle around the outskirts of this cauldron-like, fire pit, ostensibly. And you see the woman step forward to the edge of the center of the room has this dais, this raised dais. She steps over to the edge of that, looking down upon all of you, and brings her hands out and starts making the arcane semantic gestures for a spell, recites words that are unfamiliar, and immediately a ball of fire appears right in front of her hand, and she thrusts down. It falls down into the cauldron, which is ignites in flames. And the strange thing about this fire is there's absolutely no heat emanating, just light, which ignites inside that cauldron and lights up everyone's faces. Most people turn their eyes for a moment before their eyes can adjust to the brightness. And she stands there looking down, smiling at everyone. She tells you, "Welcome, everyone, to the Barb. This has been around since before the Cataclysm. Its structure itself predates even your father's fathers. But every one of our order has come here to test their skills before moving on to examine greater difficulty in spells, difficulties in challenges that life will eventually throw at you, and inevitably take your own test of high sorcery if you so choose. I want to provide an opportunity for you all. If you do not believe you have what it takes to take and pass this examination, leave now. If you stay, I cannot promise that you will continue down the path of the arcane." And people are sort of quietly shuffling one foot to another, looking left and right, seeing if anyone wants to move, or no one says anything or does anything. No one moves at all. She smiles, brings her arm out wide. "Wonderful! You are all here to take this examination. However, to pass this night's test, you must face the trial in one of the tower's rooms." Can you give me a wisdom check, please? Perception.
I got 14.
Nice. So as you're looking at these doors that she's referencing, you're in this entirety of the circumference of this tower. So these doors should lead to the outside of the building. But when you were on the outside, there were no other doors except for the archway that you entered through. So clearly there is magic amiss here. She steps down the dais and walks around to everyone and sort of beckons, "Please, everyone, follow me." And she walks over to the first door. She says, "These trials, they require magical talent. But you will not be faced with mortal danger. But I will tell you this, without this foundation test successfully..." I can't think of the word I was going to think of, damn it. "Successfully passed, then you will be expelled. There's only the duration of the Night of the Eye to complete it." And she looks over at you. "What is your name, young man?"
I'm Merrick Spectre of Palanthas.
Oh, indeed, Palanthas. Well, I'm very familiar with your instructor then. It must be the old Griffin Thule.
Ah, it is.
Is he still
The old
complaining about
nugget.
his joints?
All the time.
She just sort of chuckles a little bit. Well, Merrick, I believe this door is yours. Again, I must tell you, you only have until the end of the Night of the Eye to complete the challenge you find herein, and you will be alone. Do you dare enter this room and take this test?
Yes. And I reach for the door.
Very well. Everyone else, follow me. The door opens into a wide rotunda with black stone floors and walls carved with elaborate runes. The interior is empty, save for a single pedestal at the room's center. Atop that pedestal, there's an ornate key that's balanced on its tip. Behind you, the door you entered through vanishes. On the opposite side of the room, an identical closed door appears. So looking at this room, give me an intelligence check.
Where are you? There you are.
So I guess perception, if that's a skill.
Oh, you want perception?
Proficient,
Okay.
yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. That was intelligence. Let's do perception. Yeah, clear. There we go. 7.
Okay. So you're not entirely sure how big this room is, but you know it is rather large. I mean, it's almost as big as the atrium itself. So you have this huge expanse of a circular room that you're in. In the very center is a pedestal with a key standing on the key's end. And you're just standing where the door used to be, and you notice the door on the other side. What do you want to do here?
Do I notice, is there any, like, well, how lit is this room? Is it dim? Is it lit? Are there torches? Can I see around?
You do see that there are sconces along the very edges of the walls that are emanating light, but there's no open flames or anything. And you actually can see the entirety of the room, though at the far side it is a little more in shadow than where you are at this moment. And you know the pedestal itself is being lit from all around, and so you're able to see that it too is just circular in shape as you sort of turn your head and you sort of examine it. But at this moment, you're still pretty, you know, you're at the very edge, you're at the wall rather than right up to it. You did notice also that, you know, the walls are carved with elaborate runes. It's the black stone flooring. And other than that pedestal, there's nothing else in this room.
Okay. The runes, am I able to, is it something that I can understand because of my studies in magic?
Well,
like,
give me an
does it say
Arcana
anything?
check. Intelligence Arcana.
13.
13. So at this point, you're studying them and you know, like you're just sort of looking at them, examining them. It takes you almost an hour to finish, you know, sort of looking at all the runes and trying to piece together what they mean. And it's like knowing something that's just on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't figure it out. After an hour of studying this, you're pretty sure that you're not going to be able to understand what these runes mean.
All right. I want to kind of maybe check out the pedestal, see if there's any switches, writing, anything around the pedestal before I go reaching for this key.
Right. So as you move away from the wall and step toward the pedestal, you hit this invisible barrier. Almost, you know, it would be slapsticky if someone else was watching, but you just like walk right into it and sort of bounce off, and you're just noticing that there's a barrier, physical barrier there, but you are unable to see what it is.
Okay. Can I kind of like walk and see, is this barrier blocking me off from the whole side of the room, or is it like kind of circling the pedestal?
Okay. So let's do an investigation check. Intelligence investigation.
What is wrong with my dice? 10.
Okay. Yeah, these are pretty low rolls.
That's how it goes in real D&D for me, by the way.
Me too. It's probably good for you guys because I'm gonna be rolling for the bad guys. I'm like, I'm sorry. You're sort of touching this invisible barrier, trying to find some sort of edge to it, or to see if there's some sort of entry point to get closer to the pedestal. You can't seem to find anything. It's taken you about an hour. Do you want to continue trying to check? Is there something else you want to try to do?
Can I get to the door?
Yeah, you can. You go all around the exterior of this room, and you have about a 5-foot gap between the wall and the invisible barrier. You walk around to the actual door itself, and it's just a closed door. It looks almost exactly like the door you entered on.
Let's see. Big empty room, pedestal, key. I'm a big dummy that can't detect magic.
Was that not a spell that you chose, or you just don't have available, or what?
I didn't choose it. I went glass cannon, I guess. Can I just try maybe like another perception check to see if anything else just kind of catches my notice?
Yeah, let's do another investigation check. Intelligence investigation. Whoa! That's awesome, man. Wow. Yeah, you're looking at this door, and you're looking over at the pedestal, and you're like touching this barrier, and you find an edge to the barrier. And so you sort of step into this invisible maze, and you're just slowly finding your way around it. You've spent a full hour wandering around, hitting dead ends, trying to find your way up to the center, and you finally get to the center and this pedestal. And the key is at the just sitting on its tip, and the pedestal is just right there in front of you.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna go for it. I want to try reaching for the key and see if there's another barrier, if I can grab that key.
As you move up to touch the key, as soon as your finger touches the key, you hear this whoosh, and just air is like thrown up. Dust that you didn't even realize was there sort of swirls around the room a little bit, and the key vanishes, and you're just sort of standing there staring at the pedestal, and that's kind of all you notice. You hear this little ka-tick.
All right. I want to make my way back to the door because that sounded like a lock.
Yeah. You get back to the door, and it opens completely. On the other side is shrouded in darkness.
Do I have a torch on me? Do I have anything that can light it up? Am I able, is it like pitch black, or can I see like an outline of any torches or anything that I might be able to?
It seems like a magical barrier of blackness.
Gotcha. I'm gonna go ahead and step through it.
So as you step through, you find yourself walking back into the atrium of the Barb with that cauldron of fire flaming, and you see Rovina standing there with a big old grin on her face, and she's like, "Well, I'm very impressed. You're the first one to make it back. Congratulations, young man."
Thanks.
The entirety of this examination was for you to use your critical thinking skills and figure a way to get out of the room that you had then been locked into. Now, the other wizards are going to have different examinations, but I think you did spectacularly well for your first chance, and I think you'll probably make a wonderful wizard. Will you have a seat with me and perhaps some refreshments as we wait for the other wizards?
Yeah, sure.
So she sits down. She offers you a glass of wine. She's like, I got this from Sylvenesty before the cataclysm. And she pours you a small glass and sits down and just sort of sips it with you. And every once in a while, you'll see a new person come out. Not everyone has come back into the atrium, and she, invites the others to join her at the table and join you with a drink as they all come out. And ultimately, the procession of the moons passes, and the night of the eye is ending, and you see this sort of shadow fall over her face. And as you look around, you notice that about 7 or 8 of the initiates that had entered did not come out of their rooms. Not knowing what happened to them, she just sort of puts her glass down and looks up at the moons as they're moving, and she's just sort of whispers something to herself. And she turns around at all of you, and immediately you notice right in front of you a book, just as if by magic, appears, and a scroll right on top of it. And just for illustrations, because why not? Let's show you here what it looks like. So this is the book, and this is the scroll that appears right on top of it. You see one of the initiates reach to grab it, and she sort of chides him. Do not touch anything as of yet. I want you to understand that this was a simple test, and clearly not everyone is capable of even this. Everything you do in this life is going to get harder, and it's going to get worse. The soul forge of the magic inside of you connects you to our gods in the moons. The soul forge will drive you mad if you do not master it. The magic inside of you will be as if an orgasm exploding when successful, and it will be as corruption and darkness eating away as a cancer every time you fail. Remember to always take to heart the true miracle that you have been given the opportunity of connecting with. This spell book you may use to further your studies, add new spells as you find them, or perhaps just take notes of the arcane as you adventure throughout your lives. But this scroll, this is meant for a mage, not you. You will deliver this to a black-robed mage named Wyan, who resides in the city of Kalaman. When you are ready to take your test, seek out Wyan. But I warn you, do not break the seal on this scroll, for if you do, you will be rejected from the mages of high sorcery, and if you continue to study without our express permission, you will be considered a renegade. And for some, that will mean being hunted and killed. Take this with the gravest and serious tone in which I deliver it. And I hope and I trust that each of you will be as great as you are capable. May the gods shine their light down upon you. Congratulations. She sort of steps back, and you see some of the people grabbing, tucking away the scroll and like flipping through the pages. The fact is spell books are incredibly expensive, and so just to be gifted one, you received your first one when you attended the academy at the very beginning, and this one is much larger, much more ornate, much more beautiful, as you just get this sensation, this thrill of possibilities as you sort of run your hand over its leather-bound surface and the jewels and the inscriptions, and it just it fills you with a sense of joy and purpose, and the reality that you are successful, that you are a mage, you are a wizard, and you are capable of things that others can only dream of. So she stands there for a moment more, picks up her glass, takes a sip, Do any of you have any questions about the mages of high sorcery from me? The night of the eye is over. Those who failed were expelled from the Barb, and in a few hours' time, this will return to the ruins of whence it was constructed into this edifice. Is there anything you would like to ask me before I bid you good night? Some of the students are asking questions like, what is it like, inside the Tower of Wayrith or the Tower of Palanthas? And she tells them no one goes in the Tower of Palanthas. It is off limits. No wizard has been able to go to it since before the Cataclysm. There's a curse laid on it. Other people are asking about the test of high sorcery. Is it really dangerous? And she pulls her sleeve up, and you see just scarring all down her arms that you didn't notice before. She says, "This is from my test. I am completely scarred on 60% of my body, but I would never change a thing. The magic is worth it." And she looks over to you. "Do you have any questions for me?"
No, I do not.
She just grins a little bit, looks around the room. "Well, then that concludes your examination. Congratulations, mages, and I hope to see you at the next conclave successfully having taken your test. Good evening, everyone." And she turns and just vanishes. So what do you want to do? As the other students are sort of like slowly leaving, the Barb, sort of wandering out with this renewed sense of empowerment and purpose. You know that you unfortunately have a past friend. Are you going to immediately travel over to Vogler?
Well, first I want to the kind of wizards or the initiates that are hanging out. Mm-hmm. Are they decked out in their colors? Like, can I tell if there's a red robe, a black robe, a white robe?
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, they're wearing the robes of their instructors. So in your particular case, you're already wearing a red robe. You see different colors from different people. There are some black robes in there, which, for the Orders of High Sorcery is not strange at all. But for anyone on the outside, they pretty much think of all the wizards as black robe wizards and in cahoots with the Queen of Darkness because they just don't understand anything about the magic or the orders. But you see white robes as well. Ultimately, now that you have passed this examination, you are making a conscious decision in whether or not to maintain this red robe color or to exchange it in some manner with a different color robe. So for you as an initiate, what robe are you choosing? What color?
Oh, I'm going with red.
Nice. Okay. So you just feel very comfortable in what you're wearing right now and who you are, and everyone else seems to, there's some just sort of whispering amongst each other, like some black robe wearers are like, I'm going to be switching up to the white robes, and I didn't even really like the black robe, but it just happened to be the only one that was available in the area, the only academy instructor that was available where I come from, and so you see conversations like that happening, but yeah, everyone just slowly filters out.
Okay. Time of day, is it night?
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah. It's
early morning?
starting to get early morning, yeah.
Well, I guess I'd like to make my way to a close by town to maybe catch a little sleep before I head to Vogler.
Okay.
Right.
So that is not going to be a problem at all. And ultimately, that is the end of this prelude. So you travel to a town, you get some sleep, and in your dreams, you're actually getting the sensation of almost as if the three gods, Solamnia, Lunitary, and Nuitary, were actually present in your room and just sort of smiling down at you. You see Lunitary sort of sitting at the edge of your bed with Solamnia and Nuitary standing off, a little bit beyond. But you're feeling a connection, like truly you are connected to these gods and to the magic that they offer, the wizards of Krynn. more than you ever did in the academy. You know, there's this sort of sense when you're in the academy that you're almost borrowing experience and power from your instructor. Here, now, you feel it within yourself, almost as if it was liquid fire. And it's exciting, it's a little bit terrifying, but it's very real, and it's yours.
All right. Great. So I get some good rest and wake up refreshed and energized and ready to apply myself to the world and learn magic.
Awesome. Well, thank you for watching this, everyone, watching this after the fact. Thank you, Mark, for joining me on this. I had a lot of fun running through this with you. I know it wasn't very long and not very detailed, but that's what these preludes are. They're just little glimpses of, you know, where you come from and how you're going to end up as a character. This does mean that you have leveled up to level 2 at this point. So on your own time, go ahead and make those decisions on your character sheet. And then we will see you on Saturday. If you just want to hang out for a minute as I do the outro here for everyone else. Again, we really do appreciate you guys taking time to watch these episodes, whether it's the gaming episodes or the setting episodes that we produce on this channel. I would like to take a moment and just remind you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, ring the bell to get notified about upcoming videos, and click the like button. Again, all of this goes to help other DragonLance fans learn about this channel and its content. This channel is all about celebrating the wonderful world of the DragonLance Saga. So thank you all so much for joining. Again, this is Adam with DragonLance Saga. And until next time, Slanjavar.